Hey guys, Amber here. Welcome back to another of my character video things. Also, I think next week I might be doing fan art. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to preface this with one simple thing. Yes, I changed the way I do hair. Let me know what you think of it. I think I'm going to stick with this. It seems to mix better with my softer shading. But let me know your thoughts. Anyway, let's get in with this. This character's name is Kalin. Her last name is spelled weird. It's just a random mishmash of letters I threw down. And I pronounce it as Kiczys. So, Kalin Kiczys. Comically enough, her middle name is Isabel and her initials are Kick. Yes, I kind of want to change her name. I don't need the association with the app. Anyway, moving on. Kalin and her twin, I think I did Casey as a video. I'm actually not sure. I do know I did complete hers though. I will link at least to her character page down in the description below. Were born to Madison Kiczys. Again, I'll link it. Sadly, the older woman, Madison, never survived. She died mere hours after giving birth, leaving her daughters alone. She'd been able to name them and spend the first little bit of life with them, but that's it before she was wrenched away from them. As a result, the pair of babes were put into the system. As babes, they were both in foster care. They were always kept together due to how those that were in charge of their case had always believed that it would be better to keep them together. Help them grow up stronger, perhaps. Little did they know that keeping them together as they had been what brewed bad blood. Well, so to speak, between them. As a result, Kalin grew to hate her sister, grew to believe that the older of the two, Casey, had stolen their mother's life from her. Even after a few years, after it became apparent that Casey could communicate with the dead and that they were able to speak with their mother through it directly, Kalin never gave up that belief. At least, younger Kalin never let that belief go. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time talking tonight apparently. Come high school, Kalin discovered she had her own mana. It wasn't anything too extreme, just a small wish for a breeze while she had been stuck outside due to a fire alarm at school, mere moments before there was a breeze starting up. She tested it out a few times and quickly learned that she could manipulate both wind and water. Thankfully, the discovery of her mana wasn't an issue at all. She didn't have any real hurdle to jump over regarding learning how to utilize it properly. But, at the same time, she did have a little bit of difficulty. It wasn't anything extreme, and it caused her no real problems, but that was because she had needed to learn quick to hide her mana. She managed to graduate high school at the age of 16, a year earlier than the average person did, and as a result, she was in university on a full-ride scholarship due to her 97 average the very next year. It was a wonderful situation for her, or so she thought. It didn't take long before she learned just how out of place she truly was in university. Kalin had never had an easy life. She was harassed where she called home, and the kids at school avoided her. She didn't really complain to being left alone, but she had thought that once she hit university, she'd be able to perhaps have a bit of a social life. Sadly, she never had a chance. About 2 months later, Kalin realized one thing that helped her make the rest of her university career hell. One of the most popular people in the entire building had a hard-on of hate for her. He and his girlfriend went out of their way to cause trouble, issues, pain around them and to Kalin. It didn't matter what Kalin said or did. She was always not allowed there by those two. Shortly after that, Kalin learned that all the others in her classes were starting to follow their belief and were making things even more difficult for her. It wasn't anything too extreme at first, at least not compared to when it escalated, and it escalated bad. Although, while it did nearly steal Kalin's life from her, it also ended the style of life that the power couple had. They cornered her in an alleyway and beat her beyond sense. After they'd left her for dead, Kalin managed to, somehow, through sheer determination of will, drag herself out of the alley and to one of the shops nearby. After getting the help she needed, she found herself in the emergency department of the local hospital. The hospital was one place that Kalin did not want to be. She couldn't afford any sort of medical bills, and even less so since she wasn't an American. She was a Canadian in an American school, which she was sure wouldn't play too well in her favor. For the record, because I'm not sure if I say this later, Kalin's in Harvard at this point, and she's from Canada, so she's on a student visa. Anyway, she was a Canadian in an American school, which she was sure wouldn't play too well in her favor. Despite fighting tooth and nail as best as she could to be discharged for self-care at home, she was stuck in the hospital for a couple of weeks due to the level of damage. During that time, she found that she had a friend. The doctor that was tending to her, the one that was in charge of her case, had taken a liking to her and she to him. That ended up being the best thing for her as well. Dr. Renee Calder saved her life after she was already no longer critical. He'd interrupted an attack, and it was then that Kalin was able to see just how much he actually did care for her. From his eyes, she wasn't just a young adult that needed help. She was someone he considered a friend. The power couple had come to visit. Sorry about that. The power couple had come to visit Kalin when they realized she was actually alone. One of the two, the girlfriend, had left to keep watch. She'd call in when someone was coming. Her boyfriend, meanwhile, was looking through the room, trying to see if he could find something, anything, that he could use. In the end, he found a few different drugs that were in the drawers of the room for quick access when need be. You know, adrenaline and the like. And just approached Kalin. He had every intention of giving her a cocktail of random things that would be pinned on the hospital more than it would be on one person. He'd never managed to do it, though. He never managed to inject it, nor did he even manage to pierce her skin with the needles. She knew that it wouldn't be good, and she did all she could to fight him off. Thankfully, it had been enough. Then again, she also had a cast around her dominant arm, her left arm, and getting clocked on the head with that, it really does not feel nice, I'm sure. Renee showed up to save her life, and consequently, let's just be blunt here, the asswipe knew as his own. With the power couple out of the way, Kalin thought it would be alright to return to the dorm. Until she heard that her dorm had been trashed as well. With that information, she knew that she would have to try and figure out somewhere else to live while in school, since she knew that going there was going to be quite an issue. As a result, the doctor that had been in charge of her case, Renee Calder, had offered to help her out. She stayed with him and never looked back. Alright, this is a bit of a shorter video. I'm sorry, I think. Now, a little bit of information. She was in Harvard for law. She's a defense attorney. Yes, she dresses like this for court. And over the years, she has, gotten really close with Renee, of course. Later on, they even have a child. Her and Casey have kind of repaired those bridges. She's still very unimpressed with her sister, but at least not going to go out of her way to try and kill her like was the original idea. I'm glad I drifted away from that. And she's got some very close friends. She's also got a doll that's alive and just a good life overall. Now, part of the reason why she has such a look as she does is because of the fact that she also runs a nightclub. She has a small thing, and it's not always open. It only opens on the weekends, and not every weekend. It only opens when she doesn't have to really stress out about a case. Mostly because she doesn't want to have to hire a bunch of people and manage all that. She wanted it to be her own pet project, and she's keeping it as such. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about her. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. Or if you have a Toy House account, feel free to go to her page and leave a question in the comments. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Next week might, as I said, be a fan art piece. We'll see how it goes. I drew a Lapras. Yeah, I'm drawing Pokemon fan art. The fuck? But if it goes well, I might have that as next week's piece. But I don't know, no guarantees. It's only a possibility. If it's not that, I'm not sure who it will be. I will figure that out as I go, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be one of my mana hunters. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. Anyhow, I'm going to stop gabbing. It is 5:01 in the morning. I got to get this video finished and uploaded. So, with that, I'll leave y'all. Stay cool, cats, and I'll catch you on the flip side. This is Amber, out.